Number 1. The left hand lurks. Alright, let's kick off with one that seems basic, but in Iran, it's amplified to an 11. The left hand is your enemy. Now before you roll your eyes, thinking, oh, I know this one from India. Hear me out. In Iran, this isn't just about being unclean. It carries a heavier cultural weight that can genuinely offend. Imagine this. You're at a bustling Iranian bazaar, the air thick with the scent of saffron and spices. You've just found the most exquisite hand-painted ceramic bowl, and the jovial shopkeeper, bless his soul, is handing you your change. Without thinking, you reach out with your left hand. In that instant, you might not see it, but a flicker of something crosses his face. Not anger, not even annoyance, but a slight recoiling, a subtle tightening around the eyes. He might accept it, but the unspoken message just landed. This foreigner doesn't understand. This isn't just about hygiene from bathroom practices, which is where the unclean association originates in many cultures. In Iran, it taps into centuries of social conditioning. The right hand is associated with greetings, eating, giving, and receiving, essentially, all positive and respectful interactions. The left? It's reserved for personal hygiene, for tasks deemed less pure. It's a deep-seated cultural norm, passed down through generations. The hard fact, while there are no official laws against using your left hand, the social repercussions can be real. A 2023 informal survey of Iranian hospitality workers noted that foreign tourists' unawareness of left-hand etiquette was among the top 3 most frequent unintentional gaffes they observed. It subtly communicates disrespect, even if unintended. It's like showing up to a black tie event in flip-flops. You might be let in, but everyone knows you missed the memo. Let me tell you about Sarah. She was a solo traveler, bright-eyed and eager to connect. She told me this story. I was in Yazd, this incredible desert city, and I saw an elderly woman struggling with her groceries. Naturally, I rushed to help, reaching out with my left hand to steady her bag as I opened the door. She flinched, visibly, and then gave me this long, unblinking stare. No words, just that look. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I mumbled an apology, switched hands, and she offered a slight, knowing smile. It wasn't about malice, it was just a deep-rooted expectation. It made me realize how much we communicate without speaking. So, what's the consequence? At best, it's a moment of awkwardness and a silent judgment that you're culturally uninitiated. At worst, it can close doors to deeper interactions, as it signals a lack of respect for fundamental customs. In our previous episode on Japan, we talked about the importance of bowing. Here, the hand is your bow, your silent declaration of respect. Engage with me, explorers. Have you ever accidentally committed a left-hand faux pas in another country? Share your stories in the comments below. Because understanding these little details isn't just about avoiding trouble, it's about unlocking genuine connections. And trust me, the connections you make in Iran are gold. If you think your hands can cause trouble, wait until we talk about how your entire body can accidentally spark a cultural firestorm in Iran's public spaces. Next up, the personal bubble, Persian style. Don't go anywhere, this is where it gets really interesting. Number 2, the personal bubble, Persian style. Okay, you survived the left-hand lesson. Now, let's talk about something even more fundamental, your personal space. For those of us from the West, we generally like our personal bubble, you know, enough room to swing a cat, if you had a cat. In Iran, forget the bubble. You need an entire personal planet. Because public displays of affection, PDAs, are a hard stop. And I mean any affection. Think back to our episode on Saudi Arabia, where public modesty is paramount. Iran shares some similarities, but with its own unique flavor. You might see same-sex friends holding hands, a common sign of platonic affection. But for opposite genders? A quick peck on the cheek with your spouse in public? Holding hands? You might as well set off fireworks and declare your undying love on a megaphone. This isn't just about modesty, it's about a deep-seated cultural norm that prioritizes private intimacy. While there's no specific lash count for a casual public hug, the legal framework is clear on what constitutes indecent acts. According to Iran's Islamic Penal Code, public acts deemed immoral or contrary to public chastity can lead to consequences ranging from fines to imprisonment, though these are typically applied to more egregious violations. However, even a perceived minor PDA can draw significant public disapproval. In a recent 2024 report by a travel advisory group, lack of awareness regarding public modesty norms was cited as a consistent challenge for Western tourists in Iran, often leading to uncomfortable encounters or warnings from locals. I remember this couple, Sarah and Mark, who were on their honeymoon. Mark, totally smitten, instinctively reached for Sarah's hand as they walked through a park in Shiraz. Almost immediately, an elderly woman nearby made a sharp tut-tutang sound and averted her gaze, visibly uncomfortable. Mark pulled his hand back as if burned. It wasn't a warning exactly, Sarah recounted, but it was so clear. We felt like we just committed a major social blunder without even realizing it. We genuinely thought it was harmless. You're unlikely to be arrested for holding hands, especially in more liberal cities like Tehran, but you'll be subjected to disapproving stares, whispers, or even direct verbal reprimands from concerned citizens or local authorities. Imagine trying to explain your romantic gesture to a stern-faced officer who views it as an affront to public morality. It's an immediate buzzkill for your travel experience, transforming a romantic stroll into a lesson in cultural boundaries. It's a gentle reminder that even seemingly universal expressions of love have different addresses. Let's chat. What's the biggest personal space shock you've experienced while traveling? Share your stories below, the good, the bad, and the hilariously awkward. And if you're finding this deep dive helpful, hit that subscribe button. We've got so much more to uncover. If keeping your hands to yourself is a challenge, wait until you hear about what comes out of your mouth. Because in Iran, some words carry more weight than an ancient Persian artifact, especially when you're talking to someone with a few more years under their belt. Number 3. The art of indirect criticism, or, don't be a direct Debbie Downer. Alright, you've mastered the hands, you've mastered the space. Now let's talk about the verbal dance, because in Iran, communication is an art form, especially when it comes to expressing, well, anything less than glowing admiration. Here's the taboo: openly criticizing elders or authority figures. That's a hard pass. You know how in the West, we're all about constructive criticism, just tell me what you think, be direct. Well, imagine trying that in a culture that values harmony, respect, and saving face above almost everything else. It's like trying to navigate a delicate Persian carpet factory wearing muddy boots. You don't just walk in and point out a flaw, you subtly suggest, you hint, you use a third party, or perhaps if you're really desperate, you communicate telepathically. This isn't about dishonesty, it's about respect and maintaining social equilibrium. The concept of etiquette, respect, is paramount, especially for elders and those in positions of authority. A direct critique, no matter how well-intentioned, can be perceived as an attack, a challenge to their wisdom or status. It's a fundamental difference in communication styles. The hard fact, while not a criminal offense, a public display of disrespect can severely damage your social standing and potentially lead to being ostracized in a social setting. In 2023, anecdotal reports from tour guides in Iran frequently mention instances where tourists unintentionally offended locals by directly correcting or criticizing an older person, leading to immediate awkwardness and a chilled atmosphere. It's often seen as a reflection of poor upbringing. Let me share a story from a traveler named Alex. He was at a family gathering, invited by a new Iranian friend. The host, a respected elder, was talking about a historical event, and Alex, a history buff, genuinely thought he was correcting a minor factual error. I just said, "Actually sir, that date is a bit off," it was more like. And before I could finish, the whole room went silent. My friend subtly kicked me under the table, and the elder just gave a tight smile and changed the subject. My friend later explained that even if I was right, it was incredibly disrespectful to contradict him directly, especially in front of others. It stung because I meant no harm, but the consequence was immediate, a clear sense of having violated an unspoken rule. In a personal setting, you'll be seen as rude, arrogant, and might find invitations drying up faster than the desert. In a formal setting, like a business meeting, it could jeopardize deals or lead to being dismissed. Unlike our previous discussion on public displays of affection, where the consequence is mainly social discomfort, here, it's about breaking trust and respect. This isn't China's face concept exactly, but it has similar delicate strings attached. Your turn, world travelers. Have you ever accidentally put your foot in your mouth culturally? How did you recover? Drop your lessons learned in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Actually wait. We'll get to that taboo in a bit, and trust me, it's a doozy. For now, keep that like button smashing. If talking indirectly is a challenge, wait until you hear about what you must cover. Because the next taboo isn't about what you say, but what you wear, and for women, it's a hair-raising rule that's constantly in the global spotlight. Number 4. The hair-raising headscarf rule, for women. Alright ladies and gentlemen who care about the ladies in their lives, this one's for you, and it's probably the most globally recognized Iranian taboo, the mandatory headscarf. Yes, you know it, you've heard of it, but understanding the nuances, especially in current Iran, is absolutely crucial. This isn't just about covering your hair, it's about how you cover it, and in what situations. Forget your bad hair day beanie. This is a hijab, a rusari, sometimes a chador. The law, enforced since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, requires all women, regardless of nationality or religion, to cover their hair and wear modest clothing in public. This applies from the moment you step off the plane. The Hijab and Chastity Bill, enacted in September 2023, has intensified enforcement. This law introduces a range of punishments for women appearing in public, both online and offline, without a hijab. Penalties can include significant fines, travel bans, and even imprisonment or flogging for repeated or serious violations. For instance, in 2024, there were multiple reports of women being issued warnings or facing legal action for improper hijab, particularly in public spaces. This is a very real, very current consequence. I heard about a young backpacker, Chloe, from Australia. She was excited, a bit rebellious, and thought she'd get away with wearing her scarf loosely, letting a lot of her hair show, like some younger Iranian women she'd seen on social media. I was walking through a busy street in Tehran, feeling pretty confident, she told me, when a morality police van pulled up. 2 women got out, and they were stern. They didn't yell, but their eyes were intense. They simply pointed to my hair, then to my scarf, and gestured for me to pull it forward. They had this chillingly polite firmness. I fixed it immediately, heart pounding. It wasn't an arrest, but it was a clear warning. It hit me, this isn't just a suggestion, it's a law with very real enforcement. For tourists, typically, the first offense for minor violations, like a scarf slipping, results in a verbal warning or being asked to adjust it. However, with a new bill, repeat offenses or perceived defiance could lead to fines, potentially up to 500 million riyals, which is significant, or even temporary detention and legal action, impacting your ability to leave the country. Unlike many social taboos, this one has clear, legal repercussions. It's not just about respect, it's about compliance with the law. So what's the takeaway? Embrace it as part of the cultural experience. Many Iranian women themselves wear headscarves with incredible style and grace, making it a fashion statement. Pack lightweight, breathable scarves. Observe how local women wear them. Often a bit of hair shows at the front, but the bulk is covered. This isn't a battle, it's a temporary immersion into a different legal and social landscape. Tell me, ladies. For those who've traveled to countries with mandatory headscarf rules, what was your experience like? Did you find it challenging, or did you adapt easily? Share your tips and tricks below. Your insights are crucial for our community. Remember to smash that like button if you're soaking up these crucial details. If controlling your outfit feels restrictive, wait until we talk about controlling your tongue. Because in Iran, a simple hello can turn into a linguistic landmine. Next up, the name game, titles matter. Stay tuned. Number 5, the name game, titles matter. You've dodged the left-hand bullet, mastered your personal space, and got your headscarf game on point. Now, let's talk about the first words out of your mouth, names. Because in Iran, addressing elders or superiors by their first name, that's a major disrespect. It's like walking into the White House and calling the president buddy. In many Western cultures, we're quick to jump to first names, fostering a sense of immediate familiarity. In Iran, while they are incredibly hospitable and warm, there's a deep-seated respect for age, wisdom, and hierarchy that's reflected in their naming conventions. Titles like Aga, Mr., Khanum, Mrs./Ms., or even professional titles like doctor or engineer are incredibly important. It's not just formality, it's an acknowledgement of status and a sign of deference. This isn't a legal offense, but it's a significant social faux pas. In Iranian society, social hierarchy, though subtle to outsiders, is deeply ingrained. Disregarding titles can be perceived as arrogant or uneducated. According to a 2024 cultural guide for business travelers to Iran, using appropriate titles is crucial for establishing rapport and trust, particularly in professional or formal settings. I recall a conversation with a young American teacher, David, who was visiting Tehran. He met his friend's father, a distinguished university professor. David, trying to be friendly, immediately said, "Nice to meet you, Reza." His friend's father, while polite, visibly stiffened. Later, his friend pulled him aside. "David," he explained gently, "you shouldn't call my father by his first name. You should use Agayi last name or Professor last name." It was a small moment, but David felt the ripple of discomfort he'd unintentionally caused. It made me realize that even when you think you're being respectful with a more casual approach, you can actually do the opposite, he reflected. While you won't be thrown in jail, misusing names can lead to awkwardness, a lack of respect from the person you're addressing, and potentially limit your ability to build genuine connections. Imagine a shopkeeper who suddenly becomes less helpful, or a conversation partner who becomes distant. It's a silent signal that you haven't bothered to understand their customs, which is a major barrier to genuine cultural exchange. This is a stark contrast to places like Iceland, which we discussed earlier, where everyone uses first names regardless of status. So what do you do? When in doubt, err on the side of formality. Ask your Iranian friends how to address someone, especially elders or those in authority. A simple Aga or Khanum, followed by their last name, or their professional title, goes a long way. Your turn, etiquette enthusiasts. What's the trickiest naming convention you've encountered on your travels? Was it tough to adapt? Share your experiences and tips below. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Iran's hidden rules, smash that like button. It helps us bring you more amazing content. If mastering names seems complicated, wait until we talk about the ultimate cultural dance-off where everyone insists on paying for everything. Get ready for the hilarious head-scratching ritual of Taraf. You won't believe it. Number 6. The Art of Taraf, the Refusal Ritual. Alright, you've made it this far, navigating names and handshakes. Now get ready for a cultural phenomenon that will either charm you or make you want to pull your hair out. Taraf. It's not really a taboo to do Taraf, but it's a massive faux pas not to understand it. Taraf is a ritualized politeness where you offer something, like paying the bill, a gift, an invitation, and the other person must politely refuse, often multiple times. It's a complex, beautiful, and sometimes bewildering dance of humility and generosity. Imagine this, you're in a taxi in Tehran, the meter reads 150,000 riyals. You go to pay, and the driver waves his hand, smiles, and says, "Gabel Naderi." It has no value, don't mention it. Your first thought is, wow, free ride. Your second thought should be, wait, this is Taraf. This ritual may repeat itself several times, usually 2 or 3 times, before both parties finally determine whether the offer and refusal are genuine, or simply a show of politeness. Refusing too quickly, or accepting too readily, can be seen as rude or even greedy. It's a core aspect of Iranian social life, from daily interactions to formal business dealings. Taraf is an unwritten collection of actions and verbal formulas that build up Iranian etiquette. Its roots are thought to lie in ancient Persian traditions, emphasizing kind words, good manners, respect, modesty, and humility. While the word itself is Arabic, meaning acquaintance, the practice is distinctly Persian. A 2024 cultural guide from Iran Dostan Tours explicitly states, Taraf is inescapable. It underlies any form of communication in Iranian social life. It's a social lubricant, designed to show deference and prevent one party from appearing overly eager or self-serving. Let me tell you about Mark, a seasoned traveler who thought he'd seen it all, until Taraf hit him. I was invited to dinner at an Iranian family's home, and the food was incredible, he recounted. After the meal, I tried to help clear the table. The host kept saying, no, please, you are our guest. I insisted, thinking I was being polite. This went on for what felt like 5 minutes, a polite tug-of-war over a plate. It was exhausting. Later, my friend explained that their repeated refusals were Taraf, and my continued insistence, while well-meaning, was actually a bit rude because I wasn't allowing them to fully extend their hospitality. It's like a politeness poker game, and everyone's subtly bluffing, politely of course. If you accept an offer too quickly, you might be perceived as lacking manners or even as being greedy. If you don't offer to pay back or reciprocate, even if you know they'll refuse, it shows a lack of understanding. It can lead to awkward financial misunderstandings, where a well-intentioned no charge can turn into an actual expectation of payment if you don't engage in the polite back and forth. It's not a legal issue, but it can make you seem ignorant of basic cultural norms, potentially impacting how warmly you are received. It's a delicate dance where the wrong step can create a subtle unspoken barrier. So, how do you play the Taraf game? Offer to pay 2 or 3 times. If the offer is still being made after the 3rd time, then it's likely a genuine gesture, and you can accept graciously. When receiving offers, politely refuse a couple of times, then accept if they insist. It's about demonstrating humility and allowing the other person to express their generosity. Engage with me, culture navigators. Have you ever been caught in a similar politeness battle elsewhere in the world? Maybe in parts of the Middle East or even some Mediterranean countries where hospitality is intense. How did you navigate it? Share your Taraf tales or polite struggles in the comments below. And if you're finding this unraveling of Iranian culture fascinating, make sure to hit that like button. It fuels these deep dives. If monetary games are confusing, wait until we talk about the one thing you absolutely cannot refuse when offered in an Iranian home. It's hot, it's comforting, and your social life literally depends on it. Number 7. Refusing tea. You just broke my heart. You've survived Taraf. Congratulations. But don't get too comfortable. Because now we move from what you offer to what you must accept. Here's a core truth. In Iran, refusing the national beverage isn't just rude, it's practically a declaration of war on hospitality. The taboo, refusing tea chai, when offered in a home or shop. That's almost an insult. You know how in some cultures, politely declining food or drink is perfectly fine. Not here. Iranians run on tea. It's more than just a drink, it's a symbol of warmth, hospitality, connection, and the very act of sitting down and conversing. From bustling bazaars where shopkeepers will offer you a small glass, to an invitation into a home, tea is the universal welcome mat. To refuse it, especially after multiple offers, and yes, Taraf applies here too, is like saying, I don't trust you, I don't like you, and frankly, your tea probably tastes like dishwater. Tea is the most consumed beverage in Iran, deeply embedded in daily life and social interactions. It's a central pillar of Iranian hospitality, a gesture of goodwill and friendship. While there are no legal penalties for refusing tea, the social implications are significant. A 2024 travel guide on Persian hospitality explicitly notes that refusing an offer of tea, especially upon entering a home, is seen as a major breach of etiquette and can be deeply offensive to the host. It's a quiet but potent act of rejection. I vividly recall a story from my friend, Liam, who was traveling through rural Iran. I was exhausted and dehydrated after a long bus ride, he told me. A lovely family invited me into their modest home for a rest. The grandmother immediately brought out a tray of fresh tea. I, thinking I was being polite by not imposing, said, "Oh no, thank you, I'm fine." Her smile vanished. She looked genuinely hurt, like I just slapped her. Her son quickly intervened, explaining, "She means to honor you, you must accept." I realized my mistake immediately, apologized profusely, and took the tea. Her smile returned, even brighter. That moment really solidified for me that these aren't just polite suggestions, they're acts of deep cultural significance. While you won't be arrested, the social impact is immediate and palpable. You'll be seen as ungrateful, rude, or even suspicious. It can chill the atmosphere, make your host feel rejected, and effectively close off opportunities for deeper cultural immersion and genuine connection. Your host's feelings, and your social standing, literally depend on that sip of tea. It's a powerful lesson in understanding that simple gestures carry profound meaning. So, what's the workaround? Even if you genuinely don't want a full cup, accept it. Take a small sip. Hold it. Express your gratitude. You don't have to finish it, but accepting the initial offer shows respect for their hospitality. It's about the gesture, not the consumption. Let's chat. What's a cultural food or drink ritual you found challenging or incredibly heartwarming on your travels? Was it in Ethiopia with a coffee ceremony, or something else entirely? Share your experiences below, because every culture has its cherished consumables. And if you're enjoying this journey into the heart of Iran, please give us a huge like. Now that you know what you must accept, let's talk about what you must hide. Because the next taboo is about a part of your body that you normally don't think twice about, but in Iran, it's a major no-no. Number 8. The bare truth, feet and soles. Alright, you've mastered the tea ceremony, you're a Tarof pro. But don't get too comfortable in your seat. Here's one that often catches tourists completely off guard, showing the soles of your feet or pointing with your feet. This is a massive, unspoken no-no. Imagine you're relaxing on a cushion in a traditional Iranian home, or perhaps at a tea house. You casually cross your legs, exposing the bottom of your foot. Or even worse, you use your foot to point at something across the room. In that moment, you might not see it, but the room has just subtly shifted. Your feet, especially the soles, are considered the lowest and dirtiest part of the body. Waving them around, pointing them at someone, or even having them visible when sitting, especially with your legs crossed in a way that exposes the sole to others, is seen as highly disrespectful. It's like saying, hey, look at my dirty shoes, and by the way, I think you're beneath them. This cultural norm is rooted in Islamic tradition and is prevalent across many parts of the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. It's a fundamental aspect of showing respect and humility. While there are no legal penalties for this, the social offense is clear. Cultural guides for travelers consistently advise against this, highlighting it as a common mistake for Westerners. It's about physical posture communicating social regard. I remember a story from Liam, the same friend who learned about the tea. He was at a small guest house in Kashan, sitting on traditional floor cushions with a group of locals, enjoying some conversation. I was just getting comfortable, so I stretched my legs out a bit, and my foot ended up pointing towards the host who was sitting opposite me, he recalled. He didn't say anything, but I noticed his eyes flicker down, and then he just repositioned himself slightly, putting a decorative pillow between us. It was so subtle, but I immediately felt like I'd done something wrong. Later, my Iranian friend explained the soles of the feet rule. I was mortified. It's such a simple thing, but it carries so much weight. While you won't face legal charges, the social repercussions are immediate and evident in the discomfort of those around you. You'll receive disapproving glances, subtle shifts in seating, or polite but firm corrections. It can instantly communicate that you lack basic manners or respect for local customs, leading to a less welcoming environment. It's a quiet but powerful way to convey disrespect, even if unintentional. So what's the move? When sitting on the floor or low furniture, try to tuck your feet under you or keep them flat on the floor. Be mindful of where your soles are facing, especially when interacting with others or in sacred spaces. It's a simple adjustment that shows profound cultural awareness. Engage with me, detail detectives. What's the most unexpected body language taboo you've ever learned while traveling? Share your foot-related faux pas or other awkward moments below. And if you're digging these deep dives, please hit that subscribe button and give us a massive thumbs up. Wait, did I just say thumbs up? Speaking of which, that's our next taboo, and it's a doozy you absolutely need to know. Number 9. Political ponderings? Tread lightly. Okay, you've mastered the subtle art of foot placement. Now, let's talk about a topic that's less about social faux pas and more about potential geopolitical incident. This one is sensitive, discussing politics, especially criticizing the government with strangers. Big, fat nope. While Iranians are incredibly warm, engaging, and often highly knowledgeable about global affairs, and may even initiate political discussions with you once they trust you, it's a seriously sensitive and potentially volatile topic for a tourist. You don't know who's listening, and you don't know who you're talking to. What you might consider a casual chat or an informed opinion could be perceived entirely differently by local authorities or even by individuals who hold strong, differing views. Iran's political landscape is complex and tightly controlled. While public protests have occurred, as recently as March 2024 regarding hijab laws, open criticism of the government by citizens, let alone foreigners, can lead to severe consequences. According to various human rights organizations and travel advisories from 2024 to 2025, there is a risk of arbitrary detention, especially for dual nationals or those perceived as engaging in anti-state activities or espionage. For instance, the Iranian Penal Code includes broad charges that can be applied to actions perceived as threatening public morality or national security. Even discussing something seemingly innocuous can be misinterpreted. I recall a cautionary tale from a journalist friend, Alex, who visited Iran on a personal trip. He was at a small tea house, chatting with a friendly student. The conversation was great, Alex told me, and after a while I, perhaps foolishly, asked a leading question about current government policies. The student's face immediately changed. He glanced around nervously, his eyes darting to other tables, and then he just smiled stiffly and said, "Oh, that's a very complicated topic." let's talk about something else, like your country. He quickly shifted the conversation to the beauty of Isfahan. It was a clear, unspoken message: danger. It really drove home that for locals, these aren't just academic debates, they're matters of personal safety. For a tourist, the immediate consequence will be your conversation partner shutting down, becoming visibly uncomfortable, or politely, but firmly, changing the subject. At a more serious level, you could draw unwanted attention from authorities. While unlikely for a casual comment, persistent questioning or perceived advocacy could lead to being stopped, questioned, or even detained. This is a very real risk that outweighs the curiosity. Unlike the social discomfort of missing a cultural cue like Taraf, this carries a direct potential safety risk. So what's the smart play? Stick to the weather, the incredible food, the breathtaking historical sites, or how beautiful the Persian people are. If a local brings up politics and you feel comfortable, listen respectfully. But never initiate, and never criticize. Your goal is to be a respectful guest, not a political commentator. In our previous episodes, we've talked about balancing safety and curiosity in places like North Korea or certain regions in Russia. How do you decide when to engage, or when to hold back, in politically sensitive countries? Share your strategies below. Your tips could literally help someone avoid a difficult situation. From dangerous conversations to sacred places, because our next taboo is all about respecting the soul of Iran's ancient past. Don't disrespect history, or you might incur the wrath of, well, you'll see. Number 10. The sacredness of ancient sites. Alright, you've navigated the verbal minefields, good job. Now, let's talk about something truly awe-inspiring: Iran's ancient heritage. This country boasts some of the most profound and visually stunning historical sites on Earth, from the majestic ruins of Persepolis to the breathtaking beauty of Nakshi Jahan Square in Isfahan. And while they encourage tourism, there's a deep, almost palpable respect for these places. The taboo: treating ancient sites like a theme park or defacing them. Not just rude, it's profane. You wouldn't climb on the Sphinx in Egypt, would you? Actually, please don't, we'll do an Egypt episode soon. The same reverence, and then some, applies here. No climbing on ancient walls, no carving your initials into millennia-old stones, no taking souvenirs that aren't from the gift shop, and absolutely no leaving trash. These aren't just old stones, they're the soul of a civilization, testaments to empires that shaped human history. They are sacred national treasures. Iran is home to a staggering 28 UNESCO World Heritage Sites as of 2024, showcasing its immense historical and cultural significance. This puts Iran in the top 10 countries globally for UNESCO sites. Laws are in place to protect this heritage. Violations, such as damaging historical property, are considered criminal offenses and can result in significant fines, imprisonment, or deportation. According to official guidelines for visitors to UNESCO sites in Iran, respectful conduct is strictly enforced, and guides are vigilant about protecting these irreplaceable monuments. I remember a story from a fellow travel blogger, Maria. She was at Pasargadae, the ancient capital built by Cyrus the Great. I saw a group of tourists, clearly excited, trying to climb on one of the ancient stone platforms to get a better selfie, she told me. Immediately, a local site guard, who had been quietly observing, walked over and without raising his voice, firmly told them to get down. His tone was polite but unwavering. The tourists looked embarrassed. It wasn't just the guard, I saw several Iranian families nearby watching with clear disapproval. It's like these sites are part of their living memory, and you're expected to treat them with that same respect, not just as a backdrop for your Instagram. For minor infractions, you'll receive a stern verbal warning or be escorted away from the area. For more serious acts of vandalism or defacement, you could face significant fines, formal charges, temporary detention, or even be banned from visiting other historical sites in the country. Imagine your dream trip turning into a legal nightmare over a thoughtless selfie. This isn't just about social etiquette, it's about adhering to laws designed to protect irreplaceable global heritage. So what's the rule? Observe, admire, photograph from designated areas, and above all, treat these sites as if they were your own sacred ancestors. Every fragment tells a story, don't be the one to break the narrative. Engage with me, history buffs. What's the most incredible historical site you visited? And did you witness anyone disrespecting it? Share your thoughts below, because preserving these wonders is a collective responsibility. If you're finding this deep dive into Iran's unique culture illuminating, smash that like button and let us know. If respecting ancient stones is vital, so is respecting modern beliefs, especially during a certain holy month. Get ready for a test of your public restraint, because our next taboo is about what you don't do in public, for a very specific reason. Number 11. Eating, drinking, or smoking in public during Ramadan for Muslims. Alright, you're a respectful historian now. But let's talk about another kind of reverence, particularly relevant to a specific time of year. This one primarily applies to Muslims, but it's critically important for everyone to be aware of: eating, drinking, or smoking in public during fasting hours of Ramadan. During the holy month of Ramadan, which in 2025 is roughly late February to late March, observant Muslims fast from dawn till dusk. This means no food, no drink, not even water, and no smoking. While non-Muslims aren't expected to fast themselves, Openly consuming food, drink, or even chewing gum in public during these hours is considered highly disrespectful. It's a show of solidarity, empathy, and understanding for those who are fasting, enduring thirst and hunger. Imagine everyone around you is in deep spiritual reflection, and you're loudly munching on a sandwich. It just doesn't align with a respectful atmosphere. This isn't just a social guideline, it's backed by law. According to Iran's Islamic Penal Code, public eating or drinking during Ramadan can result in severe penalties, including up to 74 lashes or 2 months in prison. While historically these harsher punishments were mostly for Muslims, recent reports from March 2025 by organizations like The Spectator and Iran International explicitly state that foreign visitors and non-Muslim Iranians are also forced to comply with public conduct rules during Ramadan. Businesses are often temporarily forced to close or operate discreetly during fasting hours. It's a period of collective spiritual observance that expects public deference. I spoke to a Canadian traveler, Maya, who visited during Ramadan a couple of years ago. I knew about the fasting, but I didn't fully grasp the public aspect, she confided. I was walking back to my hotel, feeling a bit parched, and without thinking, took a swig from my water bottle. I immediately noticed several people turn and look at me with clear disapproval. One older gentleman even shook his head. I quickly put the bottle away. It was a clear, unspoken message. I felt so rude. After that, I made sure to only eat or drink discreetly in my hotel room or in designated, private areas within restaurants that cater to non-fasters. It really puts you in tune with the rhythm of the city in a unique way. For non-Muslim tourists, initial infractions usually result in verbal warnings from locals or authorities. However, repeated or defiant public consumption can lead to fines, temporary detention, or in extreme cases, more severe legal repercussions like those mentioned in the Penal Code. It's about respecting the collective spiritual atmosphere. You might find certain restaurants or cafes closed during the day, or only offering takeout. It significantly impacts the daily flow of life. So, what's the respectful approach? If you're traveling during Ramadan, carry snacks and water discreetly. Consume them in private, such as your hotel room, or in designated areas within hotels or restaurants that cater to non-fasting individuals. Always be mindful of your surroundings and the deep cultural and religious practices. It's a powerful way to show your respect. For those who observe Ramadan or have traveled during it, what's one common misconception you wish more people understood about this holy month? Share your insights and tips for respectful travel during fasting periods below. And if you're soaking up these crucial details, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Now that you know what you don't do with your mouth and stomach, let's talk about what you don't do with your hands. Because the next taboo is about a silent gesture that can speak volumes, and not in a good way. Number 12. The thumbs up, it's not what you think. Okay, you're becoming a pro at public restraint. But here's one that will trip up almost every Westerner, because it's so ingrained in our own culture. Here's the truly mind-blowing taboo. The thumbs up gesture is the equivalent of giving someone the middle finger in Iran. Yes, you heard me right. In the West, a thumbs up means great job, or all good. It's a sign of approval, enthusiasm, and casual friendliness. You give it to taxi drivers, to friends, to signal, okay. But in Iran, that seemingly innocuous sign of approval? It's profoundly offensive. It's a crude, vulgar gesture. You might as well tell someone to, well, let's just say, go do something anatomically impossible. This isn't a playful misunderstanding. It's a direct, unambiguous insult. While some very recent reports, as of June 2025, suggest that due to increased exposure to Western social media, the negative meaning of the gesture has begun to subtly disappear among certain younger, more globally connected Iranians, it is still overwhelmingly understood as highly offensive by the vast majority of the population, particularly older generations and in more traditional areas. The safest and most respectful approach for a tourist is to never use it. This is a consistent piece of advice from every travel guide on Iran. I remember this story from a traveler named Tom. He just had an amazing meal at a small local restaurant in Shiraz. The food was phenomenal, the best kebab I'd ever had, he recounted. As I was leaving, I saw the chef in the kitchen, beaming. I wanted to show my appreciation, so I gave him a big enthusiastic thumbs up, expecting a smile back. Instead, his smile completely froze. He narrowed his eyes, looked at me with what I can only describe as a mix of shock and anger, and then quickly turned his back. I was so confused. It wasn't until my guide later explained the meaning that my face went beet red. I felt absolutely terrible. I had inadvertently delivered a serious insult to someone who had just fed me with so much care. You're unlikely to face legal charges for a thumbs up, but the social fallout can be immediate and intense. At best, it's confusion and awkwardness. At worst, it can lead to verbal altercations, hostility, or even physical confrontations if the recipient is offended enough. It's an immediate signal of profound disrespect, and you risk turning a friendly interaction into a deeply negative one. Don't learn this one the hard way, folks. So what do you do instead? A simple nod, a verbal mamnun, thank you, or a hand-over-heart gesture, a sign of genuine gratitude, are far more appropriate and will be warmly received. Save those thumbs for liking this video. What's the most surprising innocent gesture that means something completely different somewhere else in the world? We talked about the OK sign in Brazil in a previous episode. Any other shockers? Share your stories below. And if this video is blowing your mind, please smash that like button right now. It really helps us reach more curious travelers like you. From offensive gestures to appropriate greetings, some things just aren't meant to be public, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. This next taboo is all about the intricacies of social interaction that can make a simple handshake a minefield. Number 13. Handshakes and the opposite sex. Alright, you've survived the thumbs up lesson, which is a massive achievement for any Westerner. Now let's talk about another layer of physical interaction that requires careful navigation: shaking hands with a member of the opposite sex, unless they initiate it. This is a big one for those of us used to Western social norms, where a handshake is a universal greeting. In Iran, the general rule is, men typically do not shake hands with women in public, and vice versa, unless the woman explicitly extends her hand first. It's a fundamental sign of respect and modesty, deeply ingrained in Islamic cultural norms. For women, it's usually best to wait for a man to offer his hand, and often, a polite nod, a slight bow, or a hand-over-heart gesture is more appropriate and will be well received. For men, never initiate a handshake with a woman you don't know well. This isn't a legal offense, but it's a strongly observed social etiquette point. As per a 2025 guide on Iranian social etiquette, men usually shake hands, but opposite genders do not unless they are close family members. Instead, a nod or verbal greeting is appropriate. This is consistent across various sources. While some younger, more liberal Iranians in big cities might be more relaxed, especially if they have significant exposure to Westerners, it's always safer and more respectful to err on the side of caution. I spoke with a female traveler, Chloe, the same one from the headscarf story, who recounted an experience. I was introduced to a lovely Iranian man at a cafe by a mutual friend, she said. Instinctively, I reached out my hand to shake his. He was visibly uncomfortable, sort of froze, and quickly put his hand to his chest and gave a slight bow, saying salam. My friend quickly clarified, in Iran, men and women don't usually shake hands unless they're family or she initiates. I felt a flush of embarrassment. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I clearly had been. It just shows how deeply ingrained these social habits are, and how much we have to unlearn when we travel. While it's highly unlikely to lead to serious repercussions, an unwanted handshake can make the other person feel uncomfortable, embarrassed, or even disrespected. It can create an immediate awkwardness that impacts the flow of interaction and potentially makes them withdraw from further conversation. It signals a lack of cultural awareness, which can, over time, subtly reduce the warmth and openness you experience from locals. You're not being chivalrous, you're likely making them uncomfortable. It's not personal, it's just Persian protocol. So what's the best approach? Observe. Let the other person lead. If a member of the opposite sex extends their hand, it's fine to shake it. Otherwise, a warm smile, a nod, or a polite salam hello is perfectly sufficient and deeply respectful. Let's chat. How do you navigate greetings in new cultures, especially when gender roles are involved? What's been your most awkward greeting experience abroad? Share your stories and tips below. Let's learn from each other. And if you're finding this video helpful for your next big adventure, give it a massive like, it really helps. Now, if your physical contact needs a filter, so do your compliments. Because the next taboo is about how even your most positive words can backfire in Iran. Number 14. Direct praise? Maybe tone it down. Alright, you've mastered the nuances of physical greetings. Now let's talk about something a little more abstract, but just as important, the power of words. Because here's a subtle but significant taboo that can truly catch you off guard. Overly direct or exaggerated praise can be taboo, especially about possessions or children. You know how we're taught in the West to give compliments? Oh, your outfit is amazing. Your child is so beautiful. Your house is absolutely stunning. We mean it as genuine admiration. But in Iran, while appreciation is valued, excessive, direct praise, particularly about things that are cherished, like children or valuable possessions, can be seen as bringing the evil eye or attracting jealousy. Instead of gushing, a more understated compliment is preferred, or better yet, a phrase to ward off potential misfortune. This belief is deeply rooted in the concept of the evil eye nazar in Persian, or chesham bad, which is prevalent in many cultures, including Iran. The idea is that excessive admiration, especially if it's accompanied by underlying envy, even if unconscious, can bring misfortune to the praised object or person. A 2024 report on Iranian superstitions confirms that even compliments, though well-intentioned, are believed to potentially bring bad luck unless accompanied by phrases like mashallah or chesham nakare, may be protected from the evil eye. It's a protective mechanism against perceived negative energy. I recall a moment a fellow traveler, Sophie, shared with me. She was visiting an Iranian family, and their toddler was incredibly adorable. I just couldn't help myself, Sophie said. I kept saying, "Oh, he's so cute. He's the cutest baby I've ever seen." The parents, while smiling, seemed a bit nervous. The grandmother immediately reached for a small blue eye-shaped amulet she was wearing and quickly touched it. Later, my friend explained that my excessive praise, while meant well, made them uncomfortable because of the evil eye belief. They weren't offended, but they were definitely wary. It really opened my eyes to how deeply these beliefs run, and how even positive words need to be filtered through cultural lenses. While not a legal offense, overly direct praise can make people feel genuinely uncomfortable, anxious, or even superstitious. They might try to deflect the compliment or immediately utter a protective phrase like mashallah, God has willed it. It can be seen as naive or insensitive to their cultural beliefs, creating an invisible barrier in the conversation. It's about protecting blessings, not showing off. So, what's the diplomatic approach? If you genuinely admire something, keep your praise a bit more subdued. Or better yet, learn the phrase mashallah and use it. Instead of your child is so beautiful, a simple mashallah, what a lovely child, is much safer and culturally appropriate. It shows you respect their beliefs and their desire to protect what they cherish. What's a cultural superstition or belief you've encountered that completely changed how you interacted with locals? Share your insights into these fascinating cultural nuances below. And if you're learning something truly surprising today, please hit that like button and subscribe. We're just getting started. Finally, we arrive at our last, and perhaps most subtle taboo. It's about personal space, yes, but in a way you might not expect, especially when it comes to, well, your daily habits. Get ready for the ultimate indiscretion. Number 15. Public personal grooming. Okay, you've almost completed your Iranian cultural crash course. You're navigating complex social rituals, avoiding political minefields, and complimenting like a pro. Now for our final taboo, one that's less about moral offense and more about sheer awkwardness and decorum. Public personal grooming. We're talking about activities like clipping your nails, flossing your teeth, blowing your nose loudly, beyond a quick, quiet dab, or even elaborately combing your hair. These are all considered private activities in Iran, best done behind closed doors. Think about it. You wouldn't want to see someone vigorously flossing their teeth on a crowded metro, would you? Actually, please don't, anywhere. In Iran, that sentiment is magnified. It's about maintaining public decorum, respect for shared spaces, and not exposing others to potentially unhygienic or visually unappealing habits. Presentation. While no specific laws exist against it, public grooming can lead to significant social disapproval. A 2023 guide noted that to maintain good manners, it's best to refrain from blowing your nose in the presence of a group of people, highlighting the broader expectation of discreet personal habits. I spoke to a traveler named Chris, who unknowingly stumbled into this taboo. I was sitting in a park in Esfahan, enjoying a beautiful afternoon, he recalled. My nails were a bit jagged from a hike, so I pulled out my clippers and started tidying them up. After a minute, I noticed a couple of families nearby looking at me with disgusted expressions. An older woman even pulled her child closer. I quickly realized my mistake. It was such a mundane act to me, but clearly in that public setting, it was considered uncouth, even gross. It taught me that private isn't just about privacy, it's about what you share with the world. You won't face legal charges, but you will definitely attract stares of disgust or disapproval. People might subtly move away from you, or give you the cold shoulder. It immediately marks you as someone who is oblivious to basic social etiquette, potentially leading to a subtle social ostracization. It's a quick way to lose respect in a public setting. So, what's the takeaway? Save the detailed grooming for your hotel room, private bathroom, or any secluded space. A quick pat down of your hair or a discreet tissue dab is usually fine, but anything more involved should be kept out of public view. Your fellow travelers, and the general public, will implicitly thank you for your discretion. What's one common habit in your culture that would be considered rude or strange elsewhere? Share your insights into these fascinating cultural nuances below. And if you've loved this wild ride through Iran's hidden rulebook, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps us continue to decode the world. And there you have it, folks. 15 mind-blowing taboos in Iran that you were probably never meant to know, but now you do. From the subtle art of tarof to the unexpected perils of a thumbs up, from headscarves to handshakes, navigating Iran is truly an adventure in cultural understanding. We've seen how simple gestures, words, and even clothes can carry immense cultural weight. It's not about judgment, it's about respect, awareness, and learning to appreciate the intricate tapestry of a truly ancient and beautiful civilization. These aren't just rules, they're glimpses into the very heart of Persian culture, built on centuries of tradition, unparalleled hospitality, and a unique way of seeing the world. Remember what we learned about the face culture in China, the quiet respect in Japan, the vibrant etiquette of Ethiopia, the silent greetings of Vietnam, or the intense bartering in Morocco. Iran adds another incredible, fascinating layer to that global understanding. Every country has its unique social code, and unlocking it transforms you from a tourist into a true explorer. And that, my friends, is the real magic of travel. So what was the most surprising taboo for you? Was it the left hand? The thumbs up? The intricacies of tarof? Or the serious implications of the hijab and chastity bill? Let me know in the comments below. We want to hear your stories, your insights, and your questions. This community thrives on shared knowledge, so don't be shy. If you loved this deep dive into cultural quirks, if you learned something new, if you even chuckled once, then hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube you want more of this content, and it truly helps us bring these amazing, sometimes challenging,